Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Connor.
This is Rangru, low, low, low.
And folks, as always, we are giving you that awesome SE2 League action today on Div 1. In Chadron, who do we have, sir?
Down side in the blue, we have Farid Rommel playing 122nd Infantry Division with a Maverick income. Right hand side in red, we have a P, Yuri, Tanner, playing the 3rd Armor Division, also with a Maverick income.
I want to make a quick call out here because this is so rare to see it, but it's so awesome to see. Early Calliope.
Yeah, that's a heavy investment, but we'll see if his prelim. I guess he's doing the hold fire and waiting for the infantry to get in there before blowing his load.
Yeah, but regardless, even if he's holding fire, that's fine. But how often do you see 150 points spent on a heavier armed Katyusha? It doesn't happen. In fact, I don't think the last time I really saw a Phase A Calliope. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. And they're definitely going to need to use that Calliope quite effectively, and we're already seeing it being fired off, because it's 3rd Armoured. I mean, the infantry is pretty good. They got half-tracks, they got semi-auto rifles. You just don't get a whole lot of it. So you're really going to have to make do with making sure your dudes don't get blapped.
And unfortunately, I'm actually seeing some of those half-tracks already getting murked from basically from that church. Certainly a very holy reception. And frankly, I mean, I wonder if he could have dropped it about 300 meters there. Would have been probably even more perfect. But still pretty strong, I suppose.
Yeah, he's trying to just get a good opener in the town here, and he's done actually a pretty decent job of clearing out a lot of the Finnish German infantry. Take a look down south. Yeah, Farid actually going opposite to the 2nd lung position. Quite a strong push here, and especially in CQC, his troops should perform pretty well.
Yes, they should. Now we are going to see the 76 mil does go down, but he takes down 2 vehicles with him, including I think it was a Show 3 early on, which is not a bad loss, loss 4 ratio. By the way, look northern side of it again real quick. All of that, poor infantry here, forced undercover. There's 1 Pioneer Fuhrer, and other than that, everything else is, well, not doing so hot.
Yeah,
not doing hot at all.
A very aggressive push here from Tanner up north, which I find quite surprising because it isn't exactly the infantry division. In this case, you do usually think, spam Sherman 105s down south. But it's working really well for him. It's always difficult to push fully into the town, but it seems Farid Rommel is a little bit more interested, per se, in trying to follow up just the southern and middle offensive, because he's making decent progress, but he's been slowed down a little bit by the Greyhound and engineers and the lung.
True, but the funny thing is on the bottom side of this, you actually are going to see the hilltop is completely and totally blue. Yes, the 122nd owns that, and they own it hard. It's actually, I don't think 3rd Armored, I don't think is going to be able to push this unless they bring in maybe some stovepipes. Stovepipes actually might be able to bring it back
the
down
Calliope.
around. Yeah, but the Calliope is... But the Calliope is just very much, I think, out of position by comparison.
Let's do a little bit of a drive.
And it's 13-11 because of it. So Farid Rommel is going to take that early points advantage over here. And I think he's trying to plug the gap in the north. Yep, Stoke 3 there, kind of trying to make sure he can kind of capture some of that territory right back. And I think I'm struck by kind of humorously here. Despite the 122nd being a lot stronger over here in CQC, especially that infantry, what do we see in the trees? It's a Greyhound, a half-track, and a squad of engineers holding back the entire German army.
Yeah, they got a pretty decent bit of firepower, yeah. Like, once again, the American infantry, having all semi-auto rifles improves your firepower quite a bit, and of course 50 cals and everything in the kitchen sink is pretty good. But just looking at this, like, initial push here for Tanner, he's really banking a lot in the north. I mean, it's a trove right now, but a lot of his momentum, a lot of his focus is trying to get this town. And he is going to flip over another flag over here into his position, which will be quite nice. I think the real question there, Khan, is really be able to maintain the town, because, well, Farid is still giving him quite a bit of pressure.
I'm kind of thinking about that. I've got a couple thoughts. One is, frankly, if you can stick a tank or two to cover the western approaches, you should be, to use the wonderful term you have so much, Gucci. But the same token over here, too, heck, even if you throw in maybe an M10 or a 76, you stymie, I think, a lot of that pressure because the approaches into the town are disgustingly open.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I bring in infantry. Great, I'm just going to go just destroy it with my long distance here. Heck, even bringing a P-51, I think we're going to see a gun run over here, going after that Ju-87 in the center. I know I'm kind of shifting topics here for half a second. Ju-87 did make a nice run on the Greyhound. Greyhound's not going to die, but I think that Ju-87 is... Oh, he's got a better than 50% chance of doing it. Oh, even better now, because that Focke-Wulf actually is coming in to save the day.
And Tanner is going to rightfully pull back the P-51, not wanting to deal with that smoke. And we are seeing Tanner actually investing a little bit more down south, buying a bunch of REL 50 cal armored not armored, but armed vehicles to try and stymie up some of Farid Rommel's positions here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how many Jeeps you've been driving, but I'm pretty sure the Jeep Wrangler at this point is like, hey, look, I'm an armored vehicle. That's canvas. But in any case, M8 and half-track surviving here in the lung position. Actually, I think the 122nd, I think their little push here in the lungs is... Well, it ain't going well. But
yeah,
I tell you, please.
No,
yes.
this is like going to be the problem with them, is that they don't have like the cheap like vehicle spam. I mean, it's not autocannon like vehicle spam, but 50 cows into his half-tracks and Greyhounds and Jeeps is going to provide a lot of very good fire support here. While with Farid, it's the Stugs, and Stugs are great, but Stugs are expensive, and you can't have them everywhere, and they're dangerous to use in the forest.
I do have to say, I love the fact that there was the Ma Deuce was he's dead now, unfortunately. He's a peek around over here. You can see it on top of that flag that took him out. But the Ma Deuce was retreating, and even while retreating, was firing. Must have been from the hip. The Focke-Wulf in the meantime does go down. Did we splash down? We have splash down. But another barrage here from the Calliope up north. Not going to be enough to break that deadlock, but it's a nice idea.
Yeah, I mean, at this point up north, Farid actually has a pretty good defense position as he's in a more open area of the town, and we all know what MG42s like to do when there's infantry running across towards you here. And a lot of Tanner's troops, I mean, there's a lot of flamethrower guys, and armored rifles are good, but unless he has vehicle fire support, he's just not going to be making that much progress.
Vehicle fire support, like down south, where like Greyhound is donating himself to science, and we have a ton of those Jeep 50 cals right over there.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit fast off onto the races.
Well, he saw Rabbit Man. He just had to go right there, and unfortunately, he's donating now a half track as well. So, okay, guys, armored rifles, go, please. That bazooka can take everything. Okay.
I guess not, you know.
All right. I don't know. Interesting decision there. We are going to see some recon coming in down south. Oh, look, there they are. Now everyone decides that maybe it's time for us to start going. But, yep, here come the Zooks. And as you might suspect, does get a quick kill here.
And I think with the extra fire support, he should be able to actually clear up that hill with not having to invest all that much. Like, no crazy bombing strikes or Calliope strikes. It's blew up the Stug and you just have the localized fire support. Oh, actually, it's getting a little bit dicey now. His vehicles aren't going down.
He's fine. He's fine. At this point, he's got to go and force back that one squad. Yep, they're dead. And the Hitler Junta over here, these guys are going to go down. The Latis continue to be shockingly good, I would say, against the 3rd Armored. But outside of that, I mean, back to a 12-12. And Stovepipe here taking out that flank Veerling, probably within like a couple of rounds. 2 of them going to double it that much quicker. So, hey, yeah, I think down south is going to be much more positive. The lungs, on the other hand, no. But everything else, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, we're seeing just a lot of like back and forth action from both sides, and we're not even into B phase yet. All positions of the map are being played, and you're seeing when one person gets pushed back heavily in one sector, they try to push another on. Like Farid has invested heavily into the central position here, and if he sets up that Stug, sets up some, you know, Pack 40, Pack 43s, yeah, and especially against 3rd Armored, you're going to want to get some Pack 43s against the inevitable jumbos. You should be able to very easily just lock down the lung position.
You know, and that, I think, is the thing, isn't it? Is that right now, this is like the German Trotzen Heights, so to speak. And the thing is, if you take the center, this is one of the few maps where you can swing to either side and be extremely successful, courtesy of all these kind of, well, piles of water. But
a lot of open space.
exactly. I do think northern side over here, IG-33, yeah, between the IG-33, Pak-40, Flak Vierling, Stug, yeah, this northern push is over.
Yeah, and that's just the problem with Third Armoured. They just don't have the momentum to keep up at infantry play. I guess for Tana here, his best bet is to try to play defensive and lock down those two flags. But with just how well Farid has deployed his forces, like none of his infantry are too bunched up together, so it denies the Calliope an easy strike. And he's got very good angles into attack down the roads of his town. He's just slowly whittling down the American defenders.
Yep, and the IG-33 I think would be more than enough to, once he identifies the positions, of course, more than enough to take them out very, very easily. Surprisingly enough, the P-51 just continues this kind of occasional gun runs. Ju-87 down south does go and try to put fire onto the half track and only succeeds in killing his own recon troops.
As he also killed one of Tana's infantry troops as well.
Oh, okay.
It was like, a danger close.
Got you.
Radio strike. Like, drop it right on top of me. I'll throw the flares.
I'm having this rock version, in my mind right about now. Ju-87 does finally go down. But hey, that's what happens when you're, 15 years out of date.
Yeah.
And the 60 mil shift, they're positioned over here towards the MG-42s out in the open. Well, I say out in the open. On that hilltop, I would argue fairly in the open.
We're seeing very good anti-aircraft suppression here, and the Flak Verlin almost getting the kill. And if Tana, if he can keep up his recon plane play, because this is a Western Front division, they do have those very cheap recon planes, it's going to be very helpful in routing out those Finns and Germans in the forest. And he doesn't have a huge amount of artillery in his deck compared to what you could potentially bring out, but he has enough to whittle down these hilltop defenses.
Unfortunately, what I don't think he has enough tanks or artillery or mobile artillery, let's call it, to really stop the German push to the northern side. You want to check that out. That's a very, very different perspective than what we had seen even a few minutes earlier.
Oh, Sturm Grenadiers are on the field, and yeah, those guys don't mess about with the Panzerfaust and assault rifles.
Well, this Stewart's going to find that out firsthand, and the officer who's trying to be very, very inspirational is going to find himself, well, realizing that leading from behind isn't that bad. Especially when Sturm Grenadier puts a Faust literally against your tank and fires. That's a rough place to be.
Yeah. We've seen, like, the reinforcement spam the Calliope from getting in close with, like, some CQC fire support. But it's just a very effective and real-time push here from Farid. If he can keep our Stug alive, it should be able to deal with the Calliope quite easily.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. With 4 more squads of Pioneers, yeah, this town's going to be the 122nd before too much longer.
Yeah, and this actually really changed the dynamic of the game now, because Farid is at a 14-10, and especially against an infantry division just late in, we're only like halfway through B phase.
True.
It's going to be hard for Tana, especially with the lack of infantry, so you can get a foothold back into the town. The best thing he can do is honestly just try to hold on to that one flag to the northeast, and then he's going to have to pick up the pace in the center. He either has to try to clear out the lung position or try to regain the southern hill.
And for that, I think it's kind of funny, we aren't rather, seeing all of the armored play the third is so known for. In fact, I think that brought them such prominence was the ability to just start spamming crazy amounts of Shermans. And we haven't really seen that many. We've seen the Calliope, and, well, we've seen the Calliope, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of, like, Sherman spam, really. I mean, Shermans are a little bit more expensive. I actually still haven't seen a jumbo yet. I'm going to bet you...
Down south.
Oh, I was going to say he's going to bring one down south, but yeah, that's the perfect jumbo spot right. Yeah, you just slap it in the open, and then, well, in this case, wait for the Pak-43 to get brought out to blow it up. Which is already happening, good god. I should like, start selling my predictions as prophecies.
Nostra Rangru, I can see it now. But 16-8, jeez, we turn away, and again, northern side, okay, Stug does get bailed out, but not the way that you might think. That guy's not going anywhere with that wallet. And a martyr is being brought in a very optimistic perspective, but everything else is coming up Millhouse over here for Farid Rommel.
Yeah, he's getting a very... Yep, that +2 at this point in the game is extremely good, because once again, C-Phase, of course, Maverick, to both sides, things are going to slow down quite a bit, and he has a very good defensive position just across the map. Just geographically speaking,
Hmm.
you know, south and center, he owns the high ground, and up north it's a town, and by god, as an infantry division, especially 122nd, you love fighting in town.
The kind of funny thing for me is we're seeing mortars just really get a lot of play here. We always kind of harp, as die harp for sure. Um, but the 81 millimeter, despite the fact that technically in my mind, he should be going after the counter battery. He's just trying to engage that crossroads in the south. Unfortunately, he's doing it about 15 seconds, after anything important was going to happen.
Hmm. Actually relocating the 60 mil more. Actually keeping the half tracks back to relocate them. I
Hmm.
like that quite a lot. But we're seeing Tanner mass up a pretty hefty armored force to try to take back the southern hill. I bet you what he's going to try to do is push through, take the hill, and then use that hilltop position to try to hook around the southern plateau and just envelop the left lung.
I honestly 100% agree with you. Unfortunately, he doesn't know about the martyr being brought on in. While he might know about the Pack 43, it's not going to be enough. Oh, and by the way, the IG-33, despite the fact that it's only a few heat shells, can still technically kill. And oh yeah, and just in case I didn't mention that part too, the Pack 40 is still there.
It's a lot of defense here with Farid Rommel. It's going to very much come down to his engagement, it feels like, because if Tanner loses all these tanks right now, I mean, he is going to have a very hard time buying back out force with C-Phase income.
But the opening moves are beginning as we speak. The armored rifles have deployed from their forts over here, and yeah, the first moves of this are going to be very much American for sure.
Well, I like the smoke.
Lots of smoke. Exactly. It's like a creeping barrage, except it's thrown by guys who are actually schlepping their way across the battle space.
And a lot of the German infantry here don't even have anti-tank, so that Sug 4 goes down, the infantry's going to be a bit buggered.
But again, that's one flag. Congratulations. You'll take that one. Maybe you'll take the one over here on the long houses right there. But again, outside that little space of the theater, we look to the northern side. We have 3 martyrs, all of whom are going to start engaging the M4105, pushing him back. And that town, which at the beginning of this game was just bleeding, is it's far more cold. It's a little stony here.
Yeah, it's not looking good at all. And especially if that far northern flag is very close to getting flipped on over here. Yeah, Tanner's just... It's really just more of a desperate defensive action. He having to invest quite a bit up north to try to hold his line. While down south he really... And the southern push is going on right now to, you know, actually win the game. He needs the southern push to work.
Other kind of funny thing, yeah, Stuck did just go down, but the infantry, despite the fact that none of them have AT, stovepipes shut that down for a good 10, 15, maybe even 20 seconds as all those armored rifles pinned, which is a critical slowdown that I don't think Yuri Tanner can actually really afford here.
Yeah, and he doesn't have really that much infantry, just 3 infantry squads here, no real long-range capabilities. He has bazookas, which is awesome, but he's going to need much more infantry to really screen the rest of his advance. Heck, some ground-based recon as well would probably go quite nicely.
That would be good. We're just checking to see if it goes 15-9, big deal. Farid is still very much in the lead on that one. Northern Sonic continues to see this push. Stroke 4, Pack 40, IG-33. I don't know if these guys are all engaged in the infantry if they're out in the open, or if they're engaged in the mod. I think the mod deuce is engaged here. Yep. Mod deuce goes down, GMCs go down, rifles debark in the open, and for right now they're okay. That's just because all those delicious MP44s aren't able to engage them just yet.
And the fire support is just trying to navigate around the northern side of the town to get a good angle to blow up some Yanks.
Oh, we actually have an attacking force of these martyrs, which is hysterical to me.
Gonna be martyrs to the cause, and at long range, actually quite deadly. Knocking out a
Yes.
76mm Sherman here. This is quite surprisingly effective. Good God.
And Command M4 goes down, and the M4 105 really shouldn't be that frisky. He's going to go down here if he's not too careful.
Oh, that was a very
That's
good
amazing.
push.
That's so cool.
Like, he really managed to pick up the weak spot here in Tanner's line and completely exploited it, because he's going to be able to flank around here, put pressure onto the Calliope, and heck, even put pressure to the rest of his, well, I'd say attacking, but really it's more of a defense force here for Tanner.
But, and that's one of the things I think that we don't really often talk about, is this map does have a couple very interesting, through lines. I don't want to call them bylines per se. Oof, yep, Calliope goes down. The M4 105s just continue to be very, very plucky, with an M4A3 and M4A1s right behind. So the Martyr push isn't going to win it, but daggone, it's done quite a lot to really, really tip the balance.
Yeah, like an extremely cost-effective push here. I mean, we're seeing more investment of tanks here for Tanner to try and hold us back. Yeah, if the Martyr's been so bunched up and the 105 finally getting some good suppression damage, it should probably be the end of this push.
Oh, who cares? They've been price efficient the entire time. They've already killed 3 vehicles, actually more than that, including an M4A3 here. So for a cost of 2 Martyrs, 120 points, they've killed, I think, 2 or 3 times that many very easily,
Yes.
including some Greyhounds, actually. You see right now, there are no more Greyhounds in the north. Yikes. Just yikes.
And if we look down south, Jumbo just went down there, I believe, to the Pack 43. And we're seeing, Tanner trying to make his push happen. But it's just not going to happen. The defense line here from Farid is way too strong. Just, great use of fire support. We got 2 Stug 4s hooking around to southern end. Yeah, this is not looking good for Tanner anymore. He's lost a lot of stuff.
And let's be careful here for 1 second, because the Stokes going to the hilltop unsupported against armored rifles, like, okay, I could see it, but I don't see it going very well. And I kind of like this a lot better. Okay, cool. The Stokes are sitting in kind of a containment policy. I like that a lot more. And the Pack 43 is getting engaged by all those 60 mils, which is also a very, very good idea. Regardless. Yep, northern side. Just want to swing back up there for a second. There are 3 units there. A Recon Stewart. Oh, sorry, not even 3 units. 2 units. There's one unit up there. Yeah, it's kind of like watching Sesame Street in reverse. You were winding the tape. Sorry, the DVD. I'm sorry, just rewinding the streaming service you were watching. I am not that old. I just have to find the appropriate technological evidence over here for you whippersnappers. Stug 4 should take out this M4A1 pretty quickly. Or not. It's going to be rather embarrassing if he dies to him. There we go.
The thing is, match really goes to show just why people still use a lot of infantry-heavy divisions compared to more armored divisions. Because 3rd Armored is, on paper extremely strong, especially in, like, team game. But the lack of infantry and, like, a cheap infantry spam really sucks. Because as you can see, if you just have, a couple Stugs, like Stug 4s and Martyrs, you can deal with the majority of armored threats if you know how to maneuver about. Where having a whole lot of tanks just doesn't really pay out. Because you can have a very deep tank tab, but most tank tabs are pretty expensive to buy out the entire thing. You're never really getting that entire value out of it. Whereas infantry, you're going to be going for infantry like it's a World War 1 game. Or World War 1. World War 1 is technically kind of like a game.
Ah, the great game, yes. Yeah. That's the great game indeed.
Everyone lost.
Except for us, because now we actually have all those games that come out about it. Oh, wait, it's just the one. Martyr 2 is going to go and engage his last M4, but yeah, Tanner surrenders, and I can't blame the man. I cannot blame them. I'm actually concerned about the KD here, and yep, that's about what I expected.
Yeah, almost double, yeah. And if you just look at the chronology, you got a lot of early deaths there from that town push. Yeah, actually, Tanner's taken quite a few casualties throughout the entirety of that match. His dudes were just getting blabbed.
Yes, they were. I mean, kills on his side, and with an armored rifle did okay, and I got Holmes over here, found the occasional kill. But, and Hoffman as well. Pick up 2 of those Martyrs. But if you go to the other side of this, I mean, you have a Lottie over here, a single Lottie, who is worth, as we all know, 15 points. No, I did not have to check the tab for that. But we see, Jeep, several half tracks, Grenadiers, killing infantry like crazy. Young Bluth over here. Well, he was certainly young, but there was nothing Bluthy about him. Just absolutely shellacking every single vehicle that comes this direction. This is just it's insane. It's
Yeah.
insane. Very well done.
Yeah, I think probably for Tanner, it would have been better in the opener to. Yeah, I mean, as you saw, you just have to leave that town. You're not going to win it as third armored. But maybe if you made a more aggressive push down south, in the more open area, use some jumbos, some more fire support, spam some 50 cows, and just try to play the long range tank game, especially if you can capture that entire southern plateau, and then you're just playing long range armored games. But even then, against 122nd, they have those Pack 43s, which are your kryptonite to your jumbos, which sucks.
Yep. Yep, that's very, very, very true. But any final thoughts there, sir?
No, it was a very good match.
All right. Well, folks, you know how it goes then. That's to do it for us today. Until Thursday, I'm Connorwork.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.